Over the years, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger have came out and voiced their displeasure with Bitcoin. They have referred to Bitcoin as investing in baby brains. They've referred to Bitcoin as being a Ponzi scheme, a bubble. And here we are now entering into a new bull market. As of today, Bitcoin is sitting at around $10,300 per coin. So I thought that I would revisit some of their comments and basically explain to you why they've been wrong and why they will continue to be wrong about Bitcoin and many other cryptocurrencies. Before I get into the clips, I want to be very clear with you. Warren Buffett is not a good investor when it comes to technology. This is the same guy that missed the opportunity to invest in Amazon and Google at their inception, and he just basically said he didn't have the proper insight. And instead, he decided to go with legacy companies like IBM, which ended up being a bad investment for him. As of today, Amazon is sitting at $1 trillion market cap. So let's play this clip, and then I'm going to give you my commentary.
Short a dime's worth.
Have you thought about trading the futures to take a negative position on Bitcoin?
No.
You would not do that?
No. There's no reason. I get into enough trouble with things I think I know something about. Why in the world should I take a long or short position in something I don't know anything about? So, we don't have to know what cocoa beans are going to do or cryptocurrencies. We just have to focus on 8 or 10 stocks, that businesses basically that we think are decent businesses. But I do think that I think what's going on definitely will come to a bad ending. I mean, you've got virtually everybody. I have a class. I have 11 schools coming on Friday. The questions will be on Bitcoin, and I won't know the answers. It was a very ingenious thing to figure out how to have a limited supply and make it harder more expensive to create them as you go along and all that sort of thing. But it doesn't, the function, and this is explained to me by people a lot smarter than I am, but they say blockchain does not depend on Bitcoin. And JP Morgan is talking about creating their own, JPM, and it'll be worth $1. I mean, it's matched to the dollar to dollar, and I'm sympathetic.
As you heard Warren Buffett state out of his mouth, he basically doesn't understand the technology, and he's basically getting insight from other people. Whenever someone is trying to prop up a particular asset class or industry at the expense of another asset class or industry, you have to ask a very important question. What does Warren Buffett stand to gain by putting down Bitcoin? Well, when you look at his holdings, Warren Buffett has over $32 billion sitting in Bank of America. He is what is known as a crony capitalist. Warren Buffett is a firm believer in the traditional banking system and the fractional reserve banking system. And we know that many of these banks are zombie companies, and they're only staying afloat because of what the Federal Reserve is doing. But that's a whole totally different video. So, of course, he's not going to come out and speak highly of Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin is successful, it's going to rival and take away market share from traditional bank assets. See, Warren Buffett is what is known as a value investor, and he feels that Bitcoin doesn't create anything and it has no value. But obviously, he would say something like that because this is a wealthy white man coming from a first world country where he has adequate banking. But when you look at a country like Venezuela, if you're one of the citizens in that country and you're experiencing 10,000% inflation, you want something outside of your national currency. That's the value proposition of a Bitcoin. If you are a protester in Hong Kong and you're protesting for basic human rights, and the government decides that they're authoritative and they want to shut down your banking account, you need something like a Bitcoin. See, Bitcoin is technology. It's a protocol. It's a decentralized, open public ledger. And it is permissionless. It's borderless. So no government or no dictator can shut it down. So if you're experiencing massive amounts of inflation, Bitcoin's a medium of exchange for you. If your bank account is being shut down, it's a way that you can transact and send value. See, if Alice wants to send Bob $50,000 all the way in Australia, and Alice is here in the States, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning, she can't do it. That's the whole idea of permissionless, where I can access my money and I don't have to be treated like a criminal to send someone money. I don't have to wait for the SWIFT banking system after I fill out all of these forms, wait 3 days for them to process the transaction, then it gets to Bob, and then his bank has to okay the transaction. No, it's my money. I want to be able to send it to whoever, whenever, however. That is the value proposition of a Bitcoin being a medium of exchange. Now, there are other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, like Dash, like Monero, and they have different value propositions. But that's the value and the incentive behind using a Bitcoin. Now, there are people like myself who we have adequate banking here in this country. We're not experiencing hyperinflation. Our government isn't cracking down on us yet and restricting how much money we can receive on a daily basis and take out and withdraw. But I can speculate in the asset class. And like most assets, the whole idea is to buy low and sell high, like any other asset. Now, how could Bitcoin be a Ponzi scheme? Because, a lot of people say that, it's like investing in the whole greater fool theory. You don't invest in Bitcoin with the idea of being promised a return. You understand that you're accepting the risk that it could potentially go down. But just like it can go down, it can go up. That's called speculating. But I can speculate in the Forex market as well. Guess what? I can buy the US dollar and short the yen. Or I can buy the yen and short the dollar. Does that make the US dollar a Ponzi scheme? Because I'm speculating on the value of one currency versus the other, right? I'm buying Bitcoin at the expense of the dollar. I believe the dollar is going to go down in value, so I'm buying Bitcoin. That's the whole way that speculating works. For some people, Bitcoin is a medium of exchange. For some people, it's an escape from an authoritative regime. For other people, it's a speculative asset. It could be multiple things for different people. When you look at oil, I trade oil futures. For me, I don't care if the price goes up. I don't care if the price goes down. I just want to make money. I want to trade it. For other people, they use it to put it in their car on a daily basis. That's how things work. See, Warren Buffett clearly doesn't get the technology behind the asset class, nor the investment opportunity. If you look at the top 300 pension funds, they have over $18 trillion of assets under management. What if they start to allocate 5% of those funds into different cryptocurrency projects, or 10% of those funds into different cryptocurrency projects? What is going to be the market cap of a Bitcoin, of an Ethereum? This is the opportunity that you have. What? That's $900 billion at 5%. That's $1.8 trillion at 10%. What does that do to the price of Bitcoin? That's the investment opportunity that you have. Now, yes, there are certain levels of infrastructure that has to be built out and layers of protection for the pension funds before they get into it. We get that, but that will come. See, if you take a step back and you look at the internet 25, 30 years ago, no one could have imagined e-commerce, social media, all of these disruptive technologies being built on top of the TCP layer, the IP layer. Those are protocols. Well, Bitcoin's a protocol, right? TCP stands for the Transmission Control Protocol. IP stands for the Internet Protocol. And then there were layers built on top of that. And then we got SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. That's known to you as email. The problem with that is that you didn't get a chance to participate in those wealth transfers. With Bitcoin, with Ethereum, with Nulls, with Dash, with Monero, with XRP, you get a chance to participate in these different ledgers and these different protocols. And we don't know which one may be successful. But that's the value proposition of a cryptocurrency. So as I said, it could be multiple things for multiple people. For me, it's a speculative instrument. For other people, it's survival. It's a means of exchange. It's protection from their government. See, people like Warren Buffett, they are a function of timing. And a lot of you think that because Warren Buffett, the oracle from Omaha, Nebraska, because he's worth all of this money, that somehow his opinion is superior to other people. Well, when Warren Buffett built his fortune and amassed his fortune, the landscape of investing in technology looks completely different than what it is today. And Mark Cuban spoke about this. A lot of people are wealthy just because they were born at the right time and at the right place. But now technology, disruptive technology like Bitcoin, like social media, like the internet, it changes the landscape and it levels the playing field. And I'm gonna play a clip for you real quick where Warren Buffett basically says that, where technology now, anyone can pull up information. So we have an efficient market now, so it makes everything competitive and relative.
Yeah. So, and then the second thing is, I mean, obviously got way more competition than when we started in really when I took Ben Graham's class in 1951. I mean, the whole world was my oyster because people were not going through the manuals, and you had to. It's easier to get the data now, for one thing. I mean, just with the internet, far easier. And I used to mail away for annual reports and go to the Interstate Commerce Commission, the Public Utility Commission, the Insurance Commission. I went to all those offices and dug through papers, and now it's, it takes five seconds for somebody to get the same information.
I'll ask this very fleetingly. Has your position changed on Bitcoin?
No, 100%. I mean, it's too bad, but Bitcoin, it's ingenious, and blockchain is important.
See, I can go and I can find you 10, 15 people who are, they're astrophysicists or they're into civil engineering or chemical engineering, and I can promise you they are 1,000 times smarter than Warren Buffett ever could be, right? Warren Buffett is a function of timing, and you have to ask yourself, am I listening to this person because I worship the personality, or am I listening to this person because they understand the technology, which he clearly said he doesn't? See, right now, I look at Tesla and I think it's a horrible company. Today, right now. But that doesn't mean in 3 years, in 5 years, it won't be one of the best tech companies and car companies in the history of cars, of the car industry. If Tesla can capture 10% of the overall car industry, what does that do for the market cap and the bottom line of that company? See, as of today, Tesla doesn't make money, but you're not investing in what Tesla is today. You're investing in what Elon Musk can make Tesla. When you buy Bitcoin today, it may be clunky, it may not have a good interface, it may not have those things, but you're investing in a base layer protocol, and you're investing in the idea that it's going to get better and the technology is going to develop and turn into something more. Imagine if you could invest in the TCP protocol or the IP protocol, the internet before it was the internet. Imagine what it would be. See, you have to have vision to see where it can go. And as I've said time and time in this video, Warren Buffett clearly doesn't get that. When you take a step back now and you listen to Charlie Munger talking about, it's a scumbag investment and that it's like investing in baby brains and it's used for illicit activities. Well, isn't the US dollar the primary tool that's used in terrorism and money laundering? I mean, HSBC, they have a documentary right now on Netflix about them laundering money for drug cartels. We watched what happened in 2008. We know about fractional reserve lending. We know that the Federal Reserve is a private institution. There's nothing federal about it, and they don't have any reserves. We know that the banking sector is corrupt to its core. So, of course, Warren Buffett, who's a crony capitalist, is going to want to protect that. That's just common sense. He's protecting what his financial interests are. But when you take a step back and you see, why was Bitcoin even created in the first place? Because 2008 showed everyone how fragile this system is and how quick things can go haywire. We're watching what's happening in the repo market. So Bitcoin is going to always have value for people like me who want to be outside of the financial system. It's always going to have value for people who live underneath a dictatorship. It's always going to have value for people who live in a place like Venezuela or Zimbabwe where they're experiencing hyperinflation and they want some stability in their currency. It's always going to have value. Now, the beautiful thing is, I know which cryptocurrency is going to survive the test of time. It's like during the dot-com bubble. A lot of companies popped up. Only a few of them survived. But the ones that survived, look at them now, like the Amazons, like the Facebooks who were be birthed and created through that dot-com bubble, through the infrastructure that was built during the dot-com bubble, through the companies that survived and were able to then create the infrastructure for a Facebook, for a Twitter, for e-commerce giants like eBay and Amazon. That's where we are right now with cryptocurrency. We're in the infancy phase right now, where there's a whole bunch of ideas out here and grandioso, I want to put this on the blockchain, that on the blockchain. Bitcoin has proven that it's here to stay. 500 million transactions on chain. Over 11 years, The actual Bitcoin network has not been 51% attacked. The chain hasn't been rolled back. That is value in itself. So I'll leave the video like this. Time tells all. And we have now over what? Bitcoin's been the best performing asset over the past decade. That's a fact. Over the past year, Bitcoin has returned 100%. It's up over 100%. That's a beautiful, fantastic investment. So time is on my side. And as an asset manager, I manage people's money. I can't go to my investors and say, hey, the great oracle from Omaha, Nebraska told me, don't put your money into Bitcoin because it's some type of a scam. No, it's an opportunity to make a 100% return on my money. Since I've started talking about Bitcoin on this channel back in April, when Bitcoin was sitting at $5,000, today it's at $10,300, I'm up 100% of my money. Now, obviously, I've been investing in crypto going back to 2011, and I made a tremendous amount of money. But I'm trying to get you to understand why you have to be careful with listening to the Peter Schiffs and the Warren Buffetts, because they're here to sell you on their ideas and their products and services. You have to find what works for you. It may be Ethereum, it may be Bitcoin, it may be Ripple, it may be Dash, it may be Monero. That's the beautiful thing. There's so much opportunity and there's so much wealth sitting on the sidelines. What if Bitcoin captures 10%, 15% of all global transactions in the world? What if it can capture the DeFi, decentralized finance, can capture 20% of the finance industry globally? What does that do for the market caps of Ethereum, or the market cap of a Bitcoin? Who knows? So drop a comment below. Do you think that Warren Buffett is right because he's been proven wrong? He's even admitted that he doesn't understand the technology? Or do you agree with me that Warren Buffett should stick to the things that he knows, which is crony capitalism, investing in companies and banks that are going to be bailed out from the government? Drop a comment below, like this video, share this video, also subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell.